It's related to the Ben's prophecy in Revelation. It's related to 2 Thessalonians 2 when it says about the day of the Lord of Parousia. That day will not occur until the apocalypse of the Antichrist and the apocalypse of the Antichrist and the opposite stage of the word rebellion or revolt. That's all really defined in the prophecy of the red horse. But here's where the term came from and why I used it purposely. When I started dealing with virtually abused individuals, then we dealt with military-oriented, highly trained, pro shooters inside of them. When we began to deal with them, I dealt with someone from Fort Bragg for quite a while with a few others. We're sitting at a lake, Conneaut Lake. They reached over, ripped over my shirt to see if I was wired. I was wiring and recording them. And they were the most sophisticated, say, warrior type person. They knew Class 6 languages. They knew the ancient Twilight languages. They knew how to conjure. They knew how to use Belteshazzar, Okwam, all these old Pictish languages of the Druids to summon. They are the real Luciferian. They've been through human sacrificial things. So they sat there to tell me some of those things, what they've been involved with, how they sacrifice a human. I'm listening to all this stuff from them. And then they said to me, you have no idea, Russ, how many of us there are out there. How many satanic, they use the term, chosen ones. You have no idea how many. You have no idea what's coming. We smell Christian blood. We are waiting for our day. And when the call is given, millions of us will be released. And they looked at me and said, you believe in revivals and you believe in Pentecost and the power of God. You believe in all that. We believe in the Black Awakening, a multi-continental release of power to activate the program demonized. They've weaponized the demonic powers to these super soldiers. So some of the oldest, darkest occultists, the idea of chaos first, a collapsing of everything so that a new order could rise, that's all by design. And we've been given the heads up in prophecy, but all prophecy has boots on the ground. It'll all eventually happen. So I do believe that millions and millions of these trained, programmed, altered, demonized super soldiers, whether we want to say it or not, believe they're being raised to help bring the Antichrist in. Yahawashi, Yahawashi, Yahawashi,
For his arm brought salvation unto him, and his righteousness it sustained him. For he put on righteousness as a breastplate, and an helmet of salvation upon his head. And he put on the garments of vengeance for clothing, and was clad with zeal as a cloak. According to their deeds, accordingly he will repay. Fury to his adversaries, recompense to his enemies, to the barons he will repay recompense. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion. And as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? Who shall rouse him up? Be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. And now shalt thou go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field, and thou shalt go even to Babylon. There shalt thou be delivered. There the Lord shall deem thee from the hand of thine enemies. Now also many nations are gathered against thee, that say, Let her be defiled, and let our eye look upon Zion. But they know not the thoughts of the Lord, neither understand they his counsel. For he shall gather them as the sheaves into the floor. Arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion. I will make thine horn iron, and I will make thy hoofs brass. And thou shalt beat in pieces many people, and I will consecrate their gain unto the Lord, and their substance unto the Lord of the whole earth. Yahawashi, 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 Yahawashi. Hey, Shalom.
Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, West Indian, Haitians, and the foreign Israelites that look like the other nations, scattered across the four corners of the earth. I want to give all praise to Barak, Yahawah, Barak, Yahawashi, Barak, Yahawah, Barak, Yahawashi. Got to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. I'm going to give double honors to the elders and apostles who read millstone, who led me to this truth, ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, and fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to all those who are part of the elect and to the hopeful elect. Lord willing to be part of that number. Lord willing to be edifying those who pray in the name of the Lord and striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. If judgment always comes to light, Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 5, it is not slack. 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 9, it is unto a ring. 2 Ezra chapter 5 verse 42. So I wanted to go ahead and get started with this lesson. I wanted to do it earlier, but I had to go to the plantation. I didn't have enough time to do the whole video and get to work on time because where I'm at, I'm about an hour away from the plantation. And at this moment, right now, because I travel on bike. So I wanted to get over here and do this, so it's a lot here for it being so late. But we're going to go ahead and get this started. We're going to be dealing with the Pentagon is freaking out about potential war with China and various end-time topics. There was another article that the Lord put the spirit on me to also deal with. I'm about to bring that up as well. So Lord willing, this is edifying to the flock. And I know I did another video a couple days ago and it was real staticky. I'm probably going to go retake it and just go over it briefly. And, my Wi-Fi was real bad where I was at. So Lord willing, it's working better over here right now. Let me see. Let's see if it's working a little bit better before I just started. Shalaki. Check. Shalaki. seems like it's working a little better. Let's see. Lord willing, it's working better. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this. And basically, what I want to start off with is a video, short clip. It says 12 million Americans believe violence is justified to restore Trump to power. So we're gonna watch this and we're gonna see what's going on.
Onto The Guardian, which is trying to whip up hysteria. Onto The Guardian, which is trying to whip up hysteria about Trump supporters being violent, Steve.
The headline, 12 million Americans believe violence is justified to restore Trump to power. This is the University of Chicago doing research. I'll give you this. The headline is disingenuous, but the research isn't. The research says there's people on both sides who think that violence is a perfectly good way to try and achieve their goals, not just restoring Trump to power. There are people who do it over the states having decisions over abortion. So there's both sides are saying that their violence might suit.
But we're talking tiny proportions. There's like 4% of Americans believe in violence to restore Trump to power. And that's, if you hand out a questionnaire, like if one question says, do you like to fart in a jam jar and keep it in the fridge? And somebody's going to you get 4% of people ticking that box. Yeah, but because people don't read questionnaires, and at least 4% of people will give a daft answer. So I don't think this is indicative.
Wait a minute though. 4% of Americans. You're talking about a country that has a population in 2021 of 331.9 million. So 4% of a population is 66 million people, which is a lot.
You want to try and take them in a fight?
It's not 66 million.
No, my maths rubbish again. My dad's going to watch this and he's going to be like, her maths.
It's about 12 million, which is still a lot.
Yeah.
How is that?
Look at this. I've got some stats
then
for you.
my phone's broken.
On the topic of people who think that Donald Trump was robbed in the last election, 20%. But just after the election, it was 26%.
Yeah.
How is this story not 6% of people are willing to change their mind? Yeah. This has not been spotted in nature for ages now. Yeah. So that's quite impressive, especially in America, the way that their politics, like us, getting a bit tribal. Yeah. These are tribal people who've gone, well, maybe not.
Yeah, and also it's quite a gung-ho macho culture. I'd have thought, even on the Democrat side, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to want just an excuse for some violence, even if it is getting their opponent in.
I just want to say I read the wrong number that I wrote down. But what is interesting about this story is that they do actually say that for the violence to occur, certain factors need to be met. You can have this underlying sense of violence, this underlying sense of we need to do something to get change made, because a lot of people apparently don't believe in the political system. But in order for that violence to actually spill into real life, certain factors need to be met before, it's like a Goldilocks kind of effect.
Yeah, a lot of people talk tough on a questionnaire or on the internet, but not in real life, thankfully.
Yeah, well, what they're going to find out is Yahawashi is going to make it happen. On top of that, see all these people who have a problem with Yahawashi taking vengeance on the wicked and destroying the wicked. But when it comes to Trump coming back into power, they want to justify that. So you don't think that it's justified for the Lord to take over these nations and destroy these nations for what they did to Israel? But it's justified for them to say that Trump is going to, they go take over for Trump. You see what I'm saying? So these people just, these people are just hypocrites, man. But they're going to find out it's justified with Yahawashi is about to do this place. He's about to destroy everything. That doesn't say Yahawashi on it. So you better be, you better pray to Yahawashi. He keeps you in his grace. He keeps you in his presence and his prophecies on the right side. But if you're of Yahawashi, can't nothing pluck you out of his hand. So Lord willing, we part of that number. So Micah. Chapter 2, verse 1. We're going to start right here. Hold on. Come over here. Yeah, we're Micah chapter 2, verse 1. So now they really start to put themselves out there and show that they're violent. You see? They're always talking about justice and democracy, right? And now they just talking about being straight demons. So Lord making people wax worse and worse. So this is Micah chapter 2, verse 1, and it reads, "Woe to them that devise iniquity," and woe means many sorrows, and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand, which is what? All the military weapons and guns, they take things by force. So they take houses by violence and they take them away. That's how they get down. See, we don't get down like that because we're Israel. Our weapons are not carnal. It says to be at peace with all men as much as possible. So we're going to try to avert the situation in all ways, And if it comes down to it, we'll just move around because we want Bahasham Yahawashi to take care of it. Because that's what he said. He said that vengeance is his. So we're not worried about taking vengeance on nobody. We're trying to stay out of the way, do the work, warn Israel so we can go home. Psalm chapter 73, verse 5, and it reads, "They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men." That's why they're able to get on TV and talk about how violence is justified and not get no trouble. If a whole bunch of so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, West Indian, Haitians came on live and said, and came on the news and said it was justified, for us to come back into rulership on our strength, we'd be prisoned up. We'd be locked in prison for that because we're under the curses. But see, we're not doing that. We're saying the Lord said they're going to come take our lives out. We're not saying that we're going to do it. We're saying the Lord's going to do it. And he's going to use some of us sitting around out here. It's going to be some of us. We don't know if we're the elect, but we hope to be. And the ones that are, he's going to use those men, the 144,000 men. He's going to use them to destroy these planets. Well, not these planets, but these nations, after the intercontinental ballistic missiles hit. So now, I'm going to go to verse 6. Lord willing, it ain't all lagging out and stuff. So by next week, it shouldn't be doing that no more. I should be able to get some real internet whenever I actually get a place to, my little nice throwaway apartment until Jacob's trouble comes. So Psalm chapter 73, verse 6, and it reads, "Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covered them as a garment." So we don't even have to prove really too much who Esau, even the so-called white man, is. You can just know just by how they act. You don't have to go in and show you that, all the breakdowns and the deep breakdowns. You can just tell just straight off of how they act, man. They glory in violence. That's how they always been. America, Babylon, the Great's been in war for more than 90% of its existence. Just like the Roman Empire was too. They were at war all the time, killing each other. So I'm saying that's how I feel about America, Babylon the Great. Yuck. Destroy this place, man. Isaiah chapter 59, verse 7. And it reads, "Their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity. Wasting and destruction are in their paths." That's how they get down. They're destructive. They don't care about nobody. All they care about is their shit. That's why when Bahasham Yahawashi comes and says, "All I care about is my shit," which is what? The elect of Israel. Start jacking everything up. Don't be on some old me, oh why me. Nah, you didn't want to pay attention and take heed. This is talking to, 2/3, because that's talking to the 2/3, but they're not going to hear us because they don't listen. So this is, this is really for the hopeful elect. You diligently, are paying attention. But this is us, talking to all of Israel. But we're called to talk to, the elect of Israel, which is, so far the hopeful elect. We don't know who the elect is. They speak to the lost sheep of Israel. So Romans chapter 3, let's do verse 13. Let's start here. It says their throat is an open scepter. With their tongues they have used deceit. The poison of asps is under their lips. What I want to do is I want to look up that word. We're going to go deeper into that understanding of that word. Scepter, I think that's how you say it. It's going to take a second for it to load up. It always takes a second for my computer to load up. There we go. So we're going to look up that word. It look like it means tapus or tapus. I'm going to look it up real quick. We'll go into it and let's see what it really means. Oh, Lord. Come on. Okay. So it says burial, a grave, a sepulchre, a tomb. So basically, it's their own words that's going to get them put to death. You know what I mean? The actions and the words, their death. Trying to get this.
Strong G 5028. Tafas. Tafas.
Tafas. That's how you say it. So Tafas. So we're going to go back and we're going to read a couple more precepts out of that. So that's what that means. It's a tomb. With their tongues, they have used deceit. It's just going to get them put to death. They're trying to act like they're doing something justified. They're doing justice. Just killing people just to bring back a wicked leader into a wicked nation. It's all just deceit. The poison of asps is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are their ways. And the way of peace they have not known. They don't understand what peace is. There is no fear of power, which is Yahawah, for their eyes. See? That's what I'm saying. I don't want to go too far into it. I'll stick with the topic. That's how they are. They don't understand what peace is. But they're going to understand it because they're going to get destroyed. And then they're going to have to come back into 1,000 years of slavery. And then there's never going to be a war ever again. That's when they're going to learn. That's when they're going to learn what peace is. We're going to wait. Lord willing, as long as we're still here. We don't even know if we're going to wake up and go outside tomorrow and die. So we only go day to day. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 17. It says, a proud look and a lying tongue. Let's go back to 16. These 6 things doeth the Lord hate, yea, send on abomination unto him, which is, he saw even the so-called woman. He's perfectly wicked. Verse 17, a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. A heart that devises wicked imagination. See, they have a wicked imagination, a violent imagination, feet that be swift and running into mischief. You know, and what happens when you do something violent? First you talk about it, or you think about it, and then you think about how you're gonna do it, and then you do it. That's how they are. A false witness that speaks lies, he that sow discord among brethren, and that's what they do. They sow discord. Okay, they tried to separate Israel, especially through the hip hop era. They had Jake killing Jake. See? My son, keep thy father's commandment and forsake not the law of thy mother, which is Sophia. Sophia is our mother. You know, this wisdom. You know, we're supposed to stay in these precepts. We're supposed to, you know, follow the law to the best of our commandment, because faith is what justifies us, not following the law. But we're going to follow the law because there's no more covering for those things. If you know the law and you're just not trying to follow it, you got to try to follow it to the best of your abilities. And if you go off, you know, you repent and get better. But if you're really sincere in this, the Lord's going to guide your steps where you're not committing sins like that. It's not going to lead you into temptation. That's why I say, lead us not in temptation, deliver us from evil. We ask him, hey, what you think he's going to deliver you up to evil? No, he's going to guide your steps. So 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 12. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 12, and it reads, but these as natural brute beasts, because they act like beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil things that they understand not, and shall perish in their own corruption. That's what's coming. They're going to perish in their own corruption. Because they corrupted, they got to be destroyed. And shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, as they that count it pleasure to ride in the daytime. See, they think it's pleasurable for them to get on the news and brag about how they want to destroy shit. Spots they are in blemishes, supporting themselves with their own deceivings while they feast with you, having eyes full of adultery, and that cannot cease from sin. See, they can't stop sinning, but we can. You see, they're born in and born to get destroyed in, beguiling unstable souls and heart, and they have exercised covetous practice. Cursed children, they're cursed. We're just under the curses. They're cursed, which have forsaken the right way and are gone astray, fall on the way of Balaam, the son of Besor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness. And everybody over here, they know who Baal is. They worship him. They have a whole bunch of statues of him. In the colleges, they worship him. The Boule, you know, the New World Order, they worship these damn things. And they got it from the Philistines, which is the so-called Africans. Verse 16, or not the Philistines, but the Canaanites. So 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 16, or was rebuked for his iniquity, which is his sin upon sin. It says the dumbass speaking with the man's voice forbade the madness of the prophet. And that's basically us. That's talking about all of the men, you know, who are standing in great boldness that the Lord has called to do this work. We don't know if we're chosen, but we're going to put on the image of the elect to the best of our abilities. And the main person who stood up against the devil was Yahawah and Yahawashi when he was on earth. Now he's using his spirit to come through us. And we're all speaking, you know, in his name and exalting his name. So this is Micah chapter 4, verse 13. And it reads, arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will make thine horn iron, and I will make thy hoofs brass, and thou shalt beat in pieces many people. See, it's justified with the 144,000 men are going to do to this place. With Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, and I will consecrate their gain unto the Lord, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, and their substance unto the Lord of the whole earth. The Lord's going to have them do this. It's justified. So don't start saying that we're crazy, because we're telling you that it's justified that the Lord destroys everybody here. because you got these same people who are claiming that they just love America and they're about peace and democracy and rights. But whenever they don't get what they want, they act like little kids and they want to start destroying shit. And they the ones who do that shit. The Lord is making them pay for being that way. So it's justified for them to receive this recompense. Isaiah 25:7, and he will destroy in this mountain, which is nation, the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. See, he's gonna destroy that, all this deceit. That's what he's doing right now. And the veil that is spread over. See, there's a veil. Okay, so people couldn't understand what the hell was going on. The Lord's gonna destroy this veil first, which he's doing right now through his prophets, and he's gonna physically destroy all these people. And that's why it says to flee from iniquity, because we don't want to be a part of those people. That's why we're not sinning no more. We out here following the law to the best of our abilities, but it's faith that's gonna justify us. So while we're justified by faith, they're justified by violence. That's not what's gonna justify them. It's gonna get them destroyed. And now we're gonna go over here. Pentagon is freaking out about a potential war with China. Look at this. Because America might lose. They might lose. They're gonna lose. Ain't gonna win this time. It's game over for this place. So let's read a little bit of it. The war began in early morning hours with a massive bombardment. China's version, shock and awe. Chinese planes and rockets swiftly destroyed most of Taiwan's Navy and Air Force as People Liberation Army and Navy mounted massive amphibious assault across the 100-mile Taiwan Strait. Man. Hold on. Having taken seriously President Joe Biden's pledge to defend the island, Beijing also struck preemptively as U.S. and allied air bases and ships in the Indo-Pacific. The U.S. managed to even the odds for the time by deploying more sophisticated submarines as well as B-21 and B-2 stealth bombers against inside China's Air Force zones. But Washington ran out of key munitions in a matter of days. And I remember it was a couple months ago, the America Babylon the Great was complaining about they didn't have enough ammo. So this is why they ran out. So in a matter of days, and saw the network access severed. The United States and its main ally, Japan, lost thousands of service members, dozens of ships, and hundreds of aircraft. See, they're not even talking about this. Okay? Taiwan's economy was devastated as a protracted siege ensued. The U.S. was much slower to rebuild, taking years to replace its ship, reckoned with how shriveled its industrial base had become compared to China's. The Chinese just ran things around, as said former Joint Chiefs Vice Chair General Van Hinton. One after action report, they knew exactly what they were going to do before we. They knew exactly what we were going to do before we did it. Why? Because it's Yahawashi and Yahawashi making them do it. Dozens of versions of the above war game scenario have been acted over the last few years. So it's not really something that happened, but they've been acting it out and seeing the scenarios. And every scenario, basically, America Babylon the Great is lost. So most it says the versions of above war game scenario has been enacted over the last few years. Most recently, in April, the House Senate Committee on Competition with China. While the ultimate outcome in these exercises is not always clear, the U.S. does better in some than others. The cost is in every exercise, the U.S. uses up all its long-range air-to-surface missiles. In a few days, a substantial portion of planes destroyed on the ground. In every exercise, the U.S. is not engaged in an extract push-button war, 30,000 feet up, like one of the Americans have came to expect since the end of the Cold War, but a horrific bloody. So, and that's assuming the U.S.-China war doesn't go nuclear. See, So they've been doing all these tests and all these scenarios, and they're terrified. Why? Because all these scenarios are showing that they're not going to win. Shalom. Bahasham, Yahawashi, big bro. Shalom. Bahasham, Yahawashi. You know, it just shows that they're not ready. They're terrified, and they should be, because Bahasham, Yahawashi is showing them 4 times that you're not going to win. So this is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 43. And for the White House to be doing scenarios like that, they're trying to find a way they can win before they take it into their hands, you know. And they see there ain't no way out of this, okay? Barak of Babylon the Great's going down. There ain't no mic. This place is finished. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 43, and it reads, the king of Babylon have heard the report of them. Who's that? It's called Negro Latinos, Native American, West Indian Haitians, and foreign Israelites that look like the other nations who have been across the 4 corners of the earth, speaking into existence and prophesying the downfall of this place through the power and spirit of Yahawah Bahasham Rawchaa. His hands wax, it says, I've heard the report of him, and his hands wax feeble. And the king of Babylon, who's that right now? The so-called white man, the elites. And his hands wax feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as of a woman in travail. Okay, so they're terrified, just like over here. Pentagon is freaking out. Okay, they're terrified. Okay, they're not just worried about China, they're worried about many things. Okay, that's just one topic. They're going on a scenario if they just got in a war with China. But China is with the BRICS, okay, with like 42% of the rest of the nations. You think that America Babylon the Great's gonna win? You got to be a damn moron if you think this place is gonna beat them. Okay, it's not happening. There's no way. They're doing scenarios with China, and they can't even beat them. And all the scenarios that they've done, the little guesses and pregame wars and all that the White House has been testing before they go to war. They're like, damn, there ain't no way we can just beat them, but they with Russia and everybody else. There's no way this place is gonna win. And they said this is even if it didn't even go nuclear. And we know it's gonna go nuclear. We know. Okay, we know that they're gonna send them over here. That's what we're praying to Yahawashi, you know, that he keeps that, you know, told us it's Qadash over us, and make sure, you know, we make sure that we stay in his grace, you know. Lord willing, he get us out of here, because there ain't no other way out of here. Okay, with them chariots, so-called UFOs that they call that we call the chariots. So this is Isaiah chapter 53, verse 1. No, but we're not running. We're not leaving America Babylon the Great. We're not like Esau Edom. We're gonna stand here. We're gonna serve Yahawah Shemawashah wherever our captivity is. We're gonna go down with the Lord. We're gonna make it with the Lord. Isaiah 53, verse 1. And that's like I said, we live or die. We Yahawah Shemawashah. That's how we get down here in Israel. You know. Period. So Isaiah chapter 53, verse 1. Who have believed our report? Who's that? That's the full elect right now. And to whom is the arm of the Lord Yahawashi revealed? It's revealed to his servants. And his servants, which is the great millstone, started out as one west, of course, but great millstone was the ones who carried that on, because everybody else started trying to get money off the truth and kept, you know, all these other camps that kept trying to change the doctrine. So they said, look, we ain't trying to say we taking over y'all, but we starting over here. That's where you get great millstone at. But that's what happened when it was Abraham and all his brothers. They all started going also. The Lord said, get away from them. That's what that great millstone did when one west started, you know, started splitting up. You know, this is who the Lord's dealing with, you know, whether you want to believe it or not. You know? So, but everybody, you know, who's been following along, you know, of course we all believe this just for, you know, make somebody come along in the future, you know, They might not didn't know that. So Job chapter 27 verse 10, it reads, "Will he delight himself in the Almighty? Will he always call upon power?" You know, verse 11, "I will teach you by the hand of power, which is Yahawah, that which is with the Almighty will I not conceal." And that's what's going on right now. The prophets are not concealing the power of Bahasham Yahawashi anymore. He said he wouldn't hide our prophets in the corner anymore. You know, and actually, I really wanted to put up John, verse 10:27. So the Lord put the Spirit on me to go ahead and do that one too. So this is really what I wanted to put in. John chapter 10, verse 27. "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." And that's what we do. We follow Yahawashi Yahawashi. And how do we know where Yahawashi Yahawashi is? Where his men are. Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 31. GMS, whatever they're doing, what they're talking about, where they're going. We follow them spiritually, you know. We also do, you know, we also follow them physically. Like if they tell us, you know, certain things that we should be doing physically, we try to do those to the best of our ability too, because they're here to help us. They're not here to be like, oh, we better than you or something. No, they're here to, they're our big brothers, you know, and our spiritual fathers, you know. You know, we learn everything from them. You know, we treat them like fathers. It's to treat them like fathers. And what does a father do? They don't want their son to perish, so they teach them what they need to know, so they won't perish. Because the time's coming where it's going to be bad. So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8. Salak here. Let me do this. Sometimes I don't expect to, especially when I get off work. I'll be a little tired and stuff, but that don't make me no excuse. I ain't gonna make no excuse. I'm a very bad speller sometimes. So 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8. "Now ye are fools, now ye are rich, ye have reigned as kings without us." Okay. And then it says, and I would to power we did reign, that we also might reign with you. Verse 9, "For I think that power has set forth us the apostles last." See, he bring up GMS last, "as it were appointed to death, for we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to angels, and to men." See, that we're a spectacle to the other nations and to the world, you know. So verse 10, we are fools for Mashiach's sake, but ye are wise in the Mashiach, which means Christ in Paleo Hebrew. We are weak, but ye are strong. Ye are honorable, but we are despised. Why are we despised? Because we trust in Yahweh Shem Yahawashi. You know? Yeah, we trust in Yahweh Shem Yahawashi, and we follow him wherever he goes. And we listen to our big brothers, what they tell us to do, you know? So let me go right here. Amos chapter 3, verse 6. Come on. It's Amos chapter 3, verse 6. It reads, Shalom, big bro. How about Shemal Barak Atham? Never too late. Con. Yeah, I like to try to do it in the daytime when I can. Didn't have enough time, but definitely gonna at least try to do at least one video a day is what I try to do. It's just you can't not do the work. It just got to be done. So the water for tuning in. This is Amos chapter 3, verse 6. "Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord have not done it?" See, so that's what people got to understand is that when these people start getting violent, it's the Lord doing it. Or when there's danger in the world, the Lord's there's any kind of destruction. You know, and it's like you would be amazed at some people, you know, they really don't know what's going on. Like there's people out here that still don't even know that, you know, in February the hurricane that happened, or the earthquake that happened over there in Turkey that killed 50,000 plus people. There's people still just finding out about that now, you know. So that's how you know the Lord has veils over people. So Proverbs chapter 16, verse 5, and it reads, everyone that is proud in the heart, which is their mind, is an abomination to the Lord, Yahawashi. Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. And the Lord is going to punish America, Babylon the Great with the other nations, and also the 144,000 elect men, you know, after the nuclear destruction. So this is Isaiah chapter 13. So Isaiah chapter 13, verse 13. And it reads, therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, and the wrath of the Lord Yahawashi shall host, and in the day of his fierce anger. And that's what's coming. But first he's gonna have all these heathens start bugging out and trying to be violent. So they won't have no way to, you know, be like, oh, poor me, you know. They're gonna show their true colors. They're gonna turn into some demons. That's what they are. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 14, and it reads, and it shall be as a chaste robe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. That's what's going on right now. The other nations have went to other lands because realizing that it's not expedient to be here for them. Like they're not making, they can make cheaper money where they're at. And then on top of that, you know, a lot of them, you know, understand that this place is going down as well. You know, but the majority of them still don't even know what's going on. They just leave them because it's cheaper over there. Everything's getting more expensive over here, inflation, you know, all types of stuff. You know, the only people that are trying to run here are people that are oppressed in their land and they're poor trying to get here. So Isaiah chapter 13, verse 15, it reads, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So anybody who wants to go with America, Babylon the Great, or any of these nations, try to join and follow them, they're ultimately going to perish in the end. That's why we stick with Bahasham. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 12, and it reads, for the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low. And that's why we are not in a mindset of being proud. We're in a mindset of, you know, we want to be humble and circumspect here. We don't want to be, you know, anybody who's going out here acting like, you know, this and the thing on these other camps. You know, they act like they the elect already or something. So while that's going on and they're doing simulations of all the ways to try to beat China, and they can't, which just freaked them out. Now it's over here. China is using a secret base in Cuba to spy on the U.S. So Biden and Abin official confirms. Okay, so they're over there in Cuba, and they have, you know, a base over there, and they're spying on America, Babylon the Great, and they're seeing that, you know, they're doing these tests and runs, and you know they can see the same articles as we can see, and you know they're starting to see that they got a shot at this. And that's why all the nations are getting ready in the BRICS, because they're really going to take a push to try to take this place down. It's the Lord making them do it. You know, and while he's doing that, the Lord's weakening this place. I'm putting in some precepts about this. So this is Luke chapter 18, verse 7. And it reads, and shall not power avenge his own elects, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? So yeah, he's going to avenge the elect, you know, and it's going to be through violence, and it's justified. Just like they think, you know, 12 men and, you know, Edomites, they think that it's justified to use violence to get Trump back in order. Well, we believe it's justified that Yahawashi tear this place up, you know. But they want to say that we doing hate speech, but they can do that. See, like, you know, that's how you know that these people, they don't know what they're talking about, man. They just hate Yahawashi ultimately, but it's gonna get their ass jacked up. Luke chapter 12, verse 3, and it reads, therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear in closet shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. So it's going to eventually come to a point where everything is going to be revealed. Everything's going to be let out to what's you know, people have been doing in the dark. And that's what's going on right now. It's being shown in this place. Literally, just as soon as they don't get what they want, they just start being violent. And that's how Esau Edom is. He's just a big ass baby with a gun. He just starts breaking shit whenever he's mad. That's why the Lord's going to destroy his ass. So Revelation 17:17, it reads, for power have put it in our hearts to fulfill this will, to be some demons, and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, which is the revived Roman Empire. You know, basically, you know, it was, you know, the United Nations, NATO, and EU, but they're starting to split up because Satan's going to destroy himself. So the words of power shall be fulfilled. So as we read this every day, it's like you can see this prophecy just moving. Like every day you see it, that it's like you can see the completion of it. Like it's moving every day. And you know, it's a beautiful time for Israel. You know, I ain't even been there this long. I know everybody before me is ready to go because I'm ready to get out of here. So this is 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 9. He will keep the feet of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. So that's how we know that ain't nobody talking about that they're going to take something by force is going to prevail. Only thing that's going to prevail is Yahawashi, whoever he wants to prevail. None of us can't make it, you know, without Yahawashi. We need him to get us out of this mess. We're going to wait on him, Lord willing. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 24. And it reads, men's going are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? So these people being demons and coming out and talking about they're going to use violence to take things by force, this is what the Lord is making them do. As it says also in Revelation 17:17, he's put it in their minds to condemn themselves with their actions. You know, and he put it in our minds to return from inequity. And that's why we thank Yahawashi every day. Because he's got us doing this. He's got us doing what's going to pay off. You know, and that's a miracle itself already. Because ain't nothing paid off in America, Babylon, the Great. We 31 some trillion dollars in debt over here. Ain't nothing paid off. Ain't nothing paid off, literally. Okay, nothing's paid off here. So, you know, I'm gonna keep moving. So we're gonna go right here. Putin, he puts a date on. It says Putin puts a date on his plan to deploy nuclear weapons in Belarus. So this is a big deal right now. You know. This is a big thing right now that's happening. You know, he's getting things ready. You know, tactical nuclear weapons to the country north of Ukraine. You know, it's only one of their few allies. So if things go wrong, if they launch those, there's not going to be no able to stop them. You know, it's not going to be too much things to be able to stop that. You know. So he's finally put his date on it. So we're going to go see when he says he's going to do it. He said on July 7th or July 8th. So that means that they're already there. You see? So they're already there. They're over there ready. So this is Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. reads, behold, I have created the smith that blows the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, for I have created the waster to destroy. And the Lord has got these wasters, these intercontinental ballistic missiles. He's setting them up. So this is Isaiah 13, verse 5. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven. There's the intercontinental ballistic missiles. Even the Lord, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. That's what he's going to do. He's going to destroy this whole land. Verse 6, Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. And that's what it's going to be. This place being destroyed is going to be from Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Verse 7, therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. From what? The heat from the missiles. Verse 8, and they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed at one another. Their faces shall be as flames, because they're going to be on fire. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. He shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. That's what's coming. But first he's going to let them, come down with great wrath, because there's only a short time. They're going to bug out and be demons. And he's going to destroy them. That's going to be it. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 19. We're going to go up just a little bit. Go up just a little bit. So verse 19, and it reads, in Babylon, it's America, Babylon the Great, the glory of kingdoms. As you see, that's what they call this place. That's what they think of this place of. It's the glory of kingdoms. They were saying, who will make war with the beast? That's how they are. Who will make war with America, Babylon the Great? The glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. Chaldees is, the Edomites, the so-called white men. And shall be as when power, Yahawah overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. How did he overthrow them? With fire. How do you think you're going to overthrow this place? With fire. With the intercontinental ballistic missiles. This is Mark chapter 1, verse 15. And it reads, and saying, the time is fulfilled and the kingdom of power is at hand. Repent ye and believe the gospel. See, that's what's going to justify us, is that we actually believe. We believe because we show through our works, and we show through, every day. Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. We ain't doing this to show men. We're doing this to show Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. That's what we do this for. So that's why it says prophesy in the wind. Even if nobody watching us, we're still going to do it. But the waterfall, they're coming tune in at any time. And Lord willing, my internet is working better. So call on Yahawah, Barak, Atham. And keep moving. Just keep moving. This is Matthew chapter 3, verse 1. You want to just do the work. You never know who's watching. Lord could be bringing somebody into the truth. So this is Matthew chapter 3. We want to do Matthew chapter 3, verse 1. And it reads, in those days, John the Baptist, which, we believe is Bob Bivens, who started preaching this in the 60s. He told John the Baptist he would have to come back and preach it in all multitudes and nations in Revelations. And that was when he came back in the 60s, after the 3 days and a half of us being, asleep, us being dead, spiritually. So preaching in the wilderness of Judea and saying, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And that's what everyone who has believed has been doing under him. The elders and apostles of great millstone on down. Because the other camps, they don't even call them Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. A lot of them, still say Christ, and not a Mashiach, which is the anointed in Paleo Hebrew. They don't even call them the names, and the names are very important. you're not calling on the names, you know, you're in deep trouble. You gotta at least call on the names, like, you know, you can't just be saying you love Bahasham, Rawchaa, and not calling the name. And that's what the Americans be doing. That's why, you know, what the Lord said in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 19, there must be heresies among you, so that those who are actually approved to actually guide you correctly can be made manifest. So they are doing their part, you know. That's their lot, to be deceivers. So you can see that Great Millstone is not doing it. So exclusive Russian banker Costin says the end of U.S. dollar dominance is nigh. So, you know, these are just a couple of things. So it says top banker, this is a hot war, not cold war. You never even heard of a hot war. So I wanted to pull that up and look that up. You know, they had a cold war. What was the hot war? Let's look that up. A war with active military hostilities. So, okay. That's what it means. It's a hot war. This is going to be hostile. Dollar use will be, it said dollar use will be hurt by West sanctions. China moving towards removing currency restrictions. Record BTB profit this year. BTB to sell, one of the biggest grain traders. So those are some of the things that are going to, you know, diminish the dollar as we go along. So, you know, we'll look up what a BTB is real quick, and then we'll pull up some precepts, and then we'll move past that. So the BTB is the second largest bank in Russia. So that's what it is. Okay. So they're trying to use that to, you know, take down the dollar, and they're being active about it. They're moving on it. So now we're gonna go to this next. Well, we're gonna pull up some stuff. This is Isaiah chapter 27, verse 3. Isaiah chapter 7, verse 23. Salaki. And it reads, and it shall come to pass in that day that every place, this isn't just America, Babylon, the Great, it's going to be everywhere, where there were 1,000 vines and 1,000 silverlings, it shall be even for briars and thorns. So it's going to be a famine in a lot of different ways, you know, including this word, you know, according to Amos chapter 8. So Isaiah chapter 14, verse 21. And this is basically, you know, showing that, you know, they're going to pay. This is what they're paying. All that justifying all that violence that they've done throughout the years and all this time. They're going to have to pay for that. Isaiah 14:21, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. Who's that? Who's their fathers? It's them, the same people that's on this dollar. And these same wicked Edomites are back today doing their wickedness. Same thing. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. Why? They're coming back to pay for what they did last time. If they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Okay? Which is really, you know, we don't fill the face. We don't get to possess land or fill the face of the world with cities. So the Lord's mad, you know, that we don't have rulership because we are the rightful rulers, you know, and the Lord's putting us back in order wherever we were supposed to be. Ezekiel, we have to still finish out our punishment, and then once we get done with that, and the elector seal, whoever they may be, Lord will be part of that number. we gone, or willing. Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 19, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed, and their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord Yahawashi. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. See? So it's a stumbling block. You know, all that money. That's why we're not supposed to be getting rich and trying to settle down here. You know? That's how we know these other places, man. All these nations, man. All this damn money. That's why they can't understand the truth. And that's why they never believe the truth. Because money is their God. So Matthew chapter 24, verse 12. And it reads, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that's what's happening. They're talking about they're going to use justice to justify putting one person back in the office, you know, when it really don't even matter. You know, putting them back in the office ain't going to change shit. This place still going to get blown up. Matthew chapter 16, verse 31. And it reads, even so in those days, there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. And that's what's coming. Just mass violence everywhere. Nobody's going to be spared except the elect of Israel this time. So Job chapter 36, verse 10. You know, you can't make yourself part of the elect. Like, if you're part of the elect, then you're part of the elect. If you're not, you're not. You know, we'll find out. But it's those who endure to the end are the only ones that are going to be deemed as the elect. So we have to make our calling and election sure every chance we get, which is every day. Job chapter 36, verse 10, you know, and sometimes you might have so much stuff getting at you one day and you can't just double up the next day. You know, we're doing this to the best of our abilities. Job chapter 36, verse 10. He openeth also their ear to discipline, commandeth that they return from iniquity. Who is he called to discipline? The elect. But we're just a hopeful that we don't know if we're gonna stay in it till the end, but it looks like it every day as we keep doing it. Because this is what we find joy in doing. We find joy, you know, it's like our therapy. You know, we find joy in edifying the flock, you know, to the best of our abilities. You know, this is our duty of man, the whole duty of man. You know, to stand on our tower, our watchtower, and also study and rightly divide the word of truth. You know, make sure you know you listening to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, because they're the ones who's going to break down things to you that you know may be too hard to understand. So this is Florida man almost loses leg to flesh-eating disease after getting bitten in a family brawl. So this was kind of crazy to hear about, but it was a family brawl and this dude got bit, and I guess like, you know, it was a rare flesh-eating bacterial infection developed after he was bitten in the thigh during a family fight. So, you know, what kind of reminded me of this is like, you know, you see how he's got them waxing worse and worse. He's got people out here fighting each other at their family get-togethers because they over worshiping Baal. But basically, this is going to lead to stuff that's going to happen like this, because this is the kind of stuff that was happening, you know, in the scriptures. Okay, and people don't understand. Like, this is going to get so bad. The famine's going to get so bad. It's going to be people like eating each other. Okay, you know, and they be like, "How could you say that? How could you be like, there's cannibals and stuff going to happen? Come out and eat." Well, they over here putting shows like Jeffrey Dahmer on YouTube and on Netflix where he's eating people and shit. But then when we come and pull it up in the scriptures and talk about it, it's like some people look at it like we crazy for that. We are crazy for that. You know, that was one of the biggest viewed shows at a time. You don't think none of them people, you know, are gonna have that kind of mindset whenever there's no food left? Especially these Edomites, they're going to be some demons for real. Like, you're going to find out they're demons. Like, they're real demons. They don't give a fuck about none of that. Okay, they're gonna try to survive because they know all they can see is this life. They can't see spiritually. They can't see anything past this. That's why they don't believe the word. They can't see. You know, and there are some heathens that the Lord gave visions. Like Nebuchadnezzar, he gave him visions, and it was vision of what? Everything was that he worked for is going to get destroyed, and all the other kingdoms are going to get destroyed. So Second Kings chapter 6, verse 24, and it came to pass after this that Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, gathered all his hosts and went up and besieged Samaria, right? So in Samaria, and there was a great famine in Samaria. Behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a calf's dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. So they were selling, literally, it was so bad, they were selling ass's head, okay, for food, for 4 pieces of silver, and they were selling dove doo-doo for 5 pieces of silver. They were selling shit, okay? This is shit that's coming, okay? This shit is gonna happen. Verse 26, and as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, help my lord, O king, right? And he said, if the Lord does not help thee, when shall I help thee? See, the Lord stopped helping me. He stopped helping me. And that's why the famine came. Out of the barn floor, out of the wine press. So basically what he's saying is, if Yahawashi takes away shit, we ain't getting shit, okay? And that's why we need Yahawashi, period. If he takes it away, hey, you ain't getting that shit. So verse 28, and the king said unto her, what alive thee? And she answered, this woman said unto me, give thy son that we may eat him today. We eat my son tomorrow. See? Said, we'll eat my son today, and they will eat, and we will eat my son tomorrow. See? They're talking about eating each other's kids, man. This shit is gonna go down out here. Okay, that's why you can't just trust everybody and just be like, they're such a good person. Yeah, you don't know how that person's gonna be in the day of evil. You don't know how they're gonna be. You know, but you know this. You know the ones by their fruits, the ones that's doing the work, the ones that's ready to die for y'all by Shemai. You can trust them. You know, the ones who do the best. You know, as long as you know you keep showing it every day, you know, you can trust those people. We ain't doing this for no reason. You know, everything has been ordained. There's no such thing as free will. So the fact that we're all here doing this, it just shows like, you know, this is bigger than us. So verse 30, and it came to pass when the king heard the words of the woman that he rent his clothes and he passed by upon the wall. And the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth upon his flesh. Or within, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh. So that showed like, you know, he was carrying a body in there. You know, there's going to be a lot of cannibals and shit like this coming pretty soon to a place near you. So you better have your Yahawashi. Your ass might get 8 or something, okay? Like, that's serious. That's why when these other camps do like these extravagant, you know, events and feasts and shit, we're like, y'all not in the right spirit, bro. This shit is gonna be wicked, okay? This shit is gonna be bad. So right here it says Satanic Temple, Hindu leaders speak out after religious charter school vote. And we do that kind of stuff because it says that through the fear of the Lord, we persuade men. I gotta get it. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 11. Knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto power, which is Yahawah. And I trust also are made manifest in your consciousness. Okay? So that's how it says the fear of the Lord is his is treasure. What do you do with treasure? You hide it. So we want to be the Lord's treasure so he can hide us in the day of evil. You know? Anyways, we're gonna go back here. This is in Oklahoma City, around where I'm at. Following approval of Oklahoma's first publicly funded religious charter school, another religious organization hopes to open its own school. What's that? Satanic Temple. They wanted to get publicly dropped. You see? But the religious charter school is the false prophet. So they a satanic school too. They just acting like they coming in a ray of light, just like Satan does. Earlier this week, the Oklahoma statewide virtual charter school board approved St. Isidore of Seville Catholic Virtual Charter School's application to be the first publicly funded religious charter school in the United States. See? Oklahoma Attorney General Senator Drummond said approval of this type of application that is overly religious in its teachings and operations will set a precarious precedent. While many Oklahomans undoubtedly support charter schools sponsored by various Christian faiths, which are all false faiths, the precedent created by the approval of the application will compel approval of similar applications by all faiths. I doubt most Oklahomans would want their tax dollars to fund religious schools whose tenets are diametrically opposed to their own faith. Unfortunately, the approval of the charter school by one faith will compel the approval of the charter schools by all faiths. Even most Oklahomans consider reprehensible and unworthy of public funding, which is like what? The Satanic Temple. We see Reeves, the co-founder and spokesman for the Satanic Temple, since his organization makes its own application if the decision stands. See what's happening? People are going to be paying tax dollars. We're going to be paying tax dollars. They're going to be taking money out of our check so this guy can do his Satanic Temple. Okay? That's what they're talking about. This is crazy. Okay? But it's the Lord. It's the Lord condemning this place. So I got 3 precepts for this, and then I'm out. Jude chapter 1, verse 11. You hear what I'm saying? Yuck. Okay? Yuck. Okay? Fucking yuck. Okay? Disgusting people, man. So this is Jude chapter 1, verse 11. It says, woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam, and perished in the gainsaying of Kor. Oh. Well, let me move to the next verse. Just lock it. Give me 1 second. Oh, it was still loading. Verse 12. These are spots in your feast. These are spots in your feast of charity. They feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. Clouds they are without water, carried about of winds. Trees whose fruit withereth, without fruit. Talking about the doctrine, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. See, they don't got this truth, man. They just eat and think that this place ain't gonna never run out of food. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out of their own shame. Wandering stars, their stigma, to whom is preserved the blackness of darkness forever. See, you know, when it comes down to it, the Lord's gonna destroy them, but they're gonna have to come back going to slavery. Esau Edom's gonna be thrown in the fire in the pit we throw in the fire pit, and the spirit of Esau Edom will be gone. And then, you know, those incorruptible spirits that were tied to that spiritual demon Satan will go back. They won't be connected to Satan, though. Basically, They'll be part of the other 17 nations, 16 nations. They'll be their kids in the kingdom, and that'll be fulfilling prophecy that they will be put at the bottom, and Yahawashi will be the head cornerstone. See? But none of them are going to understand war anymore. None of them are going to understand violence. None of them are going to understand that shit. There's still some of them are going to, some of them still are going to go off and they're going to be like us right now, trying to keep the law to the best of their abilities. But they're going to get judged, like if they do something wrong. It's not going to be a game, man. But you're going to see it's going to be such a great place to be. A lot of people there are not going to be. They're not going to want to go off. They're going to want to do it. They're going to want to do the laws. And they say, let us go to the house of Jacob and learn his ways. So this is Ecclesiasticus. Put it up here. Chapter 5, verse 7. It's locked here. Right. Ecclesiasticus, chapter 5, verse 7, it says, for in the multitude of dreams and many words, there are also diverse vanities, but fear thou power. And, a lot of these different, where to go, that people making these satanic temples and all these other different religions and these other camps, they have all these dreams and all these many words, just like they had the Watchmen for Israel. They did a 6-hour breakdown on the mark of the beast. It don't take that long. It take like 10 minutes to break down the whole thing, But it says fear power, Fear the Lord, by what? Not be saying too much. Just stick to the script that Bahasham gave Great Millstone and gave to us. Thou seest the oppression of the poor and the violent perverting of judgment and justice in the province. Marvel not at the matter. See, we're not supposed to really be, this is supposed to be happening. For he that is higher than the highest regarded, that there be high, and there be higher than they. So the Lord's got them doing this kind of stuff, so he could ultimately destroy them. He said that the wicked are even made for him for the day of evil. So 1 John chapter 2, verse 19. And it reads, they went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us. So you come into this truth and you go back into the world, you ultimately wasn't part of the elect. And that's why we pray for the Lord not to take the Qadash from us every day. Psalms 51, verse 11. And some of us, we might get down on our knees and privately do it. Maybe some of us do it in our head when we're on the street. But, you can pray in your head, like if you're doing something. The Lord not to take the Qadash from you. He knows our prayers. He knows our prayers before we even ask him. Because he controls all dominion. He controls everybody on the earth. So, that's all I had for today. Salakia for it being longer than an hour. I usually try to make it only an hour. But for the waterfall who tuning in, we give all praise to Yahawah, Bahasham, Qadash. And we give double honors to the elders and apostles who have millstone led me to this truth. We've been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness and let your judgment, forgiveness, and wrath. To all those who are part of elect, to the hopeful elect, Lord, when we part of that number, Lord, will let be edifying those who fear the name of the Lord and strive to show forth the Lord's righteousness. Every day to the best of their abilities, the judgment always comes to light. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 5, it is not slack. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9 is unto a ring. 2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 42. So Shalom, Wah, Ba. It's a lot here for the, the internet. It's not as good, but Lord willing, I'll be able to make the change pretty soon and get back to doing video where it don't be lagging and stuff as much and going in and out. So Shalom.